Hey guys. Hey Bougie Gang, what's going on? Okay. Um Give me just a second. Y'all, this was a long day of hurry up and wait, but I do have an update for you guys. And then I got caught up watching Diddy later in the afternoon, but they did seat a jury, but it wasn't televised. So let me let you guys come in. Oh my god, this light is so bright. Hey everybody, how's everyone doing? Oh, y'all. Okay. I figured okay, so number 1, so the TV stations that we're gonna be carrying how's everybody doing, by the way? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So there were a bunch of Milwaukee TV stations that were ready to carry this today, and one specifically was live. And he came in and basically they were like, "Well, we're waiting for the jury questionnaires." I don't know if they went live prematurely because you could hear kind of what was going on in the court, but it was on the flag. You know how they'll be on the clock or the medallion or whatever until court starts. Now the judge was sitting at the bench and let me turn the chat on. The judge was at the bench and you saw Maxwell for like a minute or two. He came in with his lawyer and basically sat at the table. And I'd missed that part because I was live until about like 10:15, 10:20. So by the time I went to set up my live, it was on the flag. But I slid back and I saw, oh, okay, he's sitting at the table. So I was gonna go live and show you guys that but they never it didn't appear like they were going to bring the cameras back. So waited, and finally it just went to black. But anyway, I don't think that they were televising that. I think the judge requested them not video the jury selection. I missed that part, but I know she did specifically at one point. I heard her saying, "Well, you can be live as long as you're not going to show the potential jury's face and things like that." And then next thing you know, it just went dead and then they took it off their channel. So I don't know if they weren't supposed to have that on at that moment anyway, but they deleted it. Um Anyway, there is a update to the docket. So, and then I figured we'd just read the indictment. We'll read the original complaint. So for those of you who are familiar with the story, but if you've never heard the actual official complaint, we can go through that so you can be ready because the jury has been impaneled and sworn in, and they will be in seat tomorrow at 8:45. So it's actually the trial is going to start tomorrow. So uh let's see. So how's everybody doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey everybody. Okay. Looks like there's no live. Oh, girl, I'm way, 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 way back. Okay. Okay. Oh, you live I can oof. Uh it's one of those things I would almost rather like that's is so gruesomely scary. It's awful. It's awful. I feel bad for the people of Milwaukee and the area who had to deal with such, this it's awful and the family. It's unimaginable. It really is. It's awful. So the note on here is so this morning they noted that the defendant was in custody. So this was this morning. It was in custody in court. Case in court for arraignment. So they did kind of like an arraignment first thing this morning. They went back through the charges. He put in a plea of not guilty. The defendant in court, attorney Anthony D. Cotton and attorney Jason Findling in the court with Maxwell Anderson. Basically, case in court for jury selection in chambers conference held based on jury questionnaire. parties have pre-selected 40 jurors. So there were 40 people that they went through voir dire with, jury paneled in court, voir dire proceeding at the hour of 11:49. Then they came back and they basically said case in court, for continued jury selection, jury panel in court. Voir dire proceeded at 1:51. They did the strikes for cause. Anyway, they impaneled 15 good and lawful citizens of the County of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, qualified to serve as jurors in the above entitled cause, were duly impaneled and sworn. Jury list received and filed. Court orders parties dismissed for the day, but ordered to return at 8:45 a.m. So I feel like if you're in Milwaukee, um, are you guys on Central Time? Like, is it 7:48 now? It feels so much later now. The person who said they were in Ohio, not far from where this occurred. Let me see. Milwaukee time. Let's see. Milwaukee time zone. Okay, you guys are an hour behind. Okay, so 8:45 is 9:45. Okay, for me. Okay, you guys are like on Central Time, I guess, or I know there's some states that don't do daylight savings time. I'm not sure of the parameters of why it's 7:49 in Milwaukee, but it's 7:49. Okay. Midwest time. Okay, it's on Central. Ohio, well, it's Wisconsin. Why do I always think, okay, okay, Midwest time. I never think of like Ohio, like Chicago, um, certain places that might be Central Time is Central Time. I always forget. I'm in Florida and I'm on Central Time zone. But you're in the Panhandle, aren't you? Oh, anyway, let's not get into that. Um, it's all these time zones. I just have very specific in my mind what I think of as Central, Mountain, Pacific. You know what I mean? So yeah, Panhandle. Okay, all right. So prepare for tomorrow. Today was a bit premature. I think that it was basically that it was said that, everything would be televised, and that's fine because no, jury selection. Jury selection is interesting. I did go back and watch. Well, it was before the trial started, but that little time in between when they picked the jury for Sarah Boone, that was interesting hearing the question and answer panel thing. So it was cool. You know what I mean? But it's not necessarily something that's like, "Ooh, I love jury selection." So anyway, let me I went through and did a quick redaction. Hopefully, I did a good job because I had to get rid of some phone numbers. So hopefully, I got them all. But your girl is not perfect. So if we see one, uh, it's gonna be all right. Uh, I'm trying to make sure I don't see any, but at the end of I think I got most of them. There was quite a bit of phone numbers. Okay. Let's see. You're gonna close your eyes. Please don't call. Yeah, nobody call. Okay, let's get into it. And then that way we'll be super prepared for tomorrow as far as like what this, this is not necessarily what the state's case is, but this is This is the reason why he's been in jail for over a year. Did somebody ask me yesterday about the mother who is in jail for murder in Florida in Hillsborough County, who strangled one of her children? Oh, I feel like someone asked me about that yesterday, and I was just like, I think I just read that article and I'm still processing it. It was just, and I thought about it again tonight, and I went and looked it up, and I'm trying to pull like the her arrest affidavit, and oh my god. Yeah, awful. I don't know what was going on, but there is body cam footage and there's a 911 call. It's terrible. It's terrible. We're not going to talk about that tonight cuz this is going to be bad enough. Okay, let's just get into this so we can be prepared for tomorrow. So if you did not know the details, get ready because it's coming. Okay. So this is Maxwell Anderson. He is standing accused of the murder of Sade Robinson. The above, okay, so first degree intentional. Let's see. I don't know. But you know what? It's not even what's going on now. This has been going on. It's just we kind of know we know more about it. It's just, it's I don't even know what to say. I just don't. It's awful. I kind of wanted to have this big. Let me see. Mm, It was better the way I had it before. Hold on. Okay. The below complaint being duly sworn on information and belief that first degree murder, the above named defendant on or about Tuesday, April 2nd, in Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, did cause the death of Sade C. Robinson, another human being, with the intent to kill that person, contrary to section Wisconsin statutes. Upon conviction for this offense, a class A felony, the defendant shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life. Count 2, mutilating a corpse. On or about April 2nd, 2024. I'm just going to skip some things. Class F felony, $25,000 or imprisonment for more than 12 years and 6 months or both. Arson of property other than a building. He's accused of setting fire to her vehicle. The above named defendant on or about Tuesday, April 2nd, in the city of Milwaukee by means of fire did intentionally damage the property of Sade C. Robinson, valued at more than $100 without the person's consent. Upon conviction, it's a class I felony. Okay, probable cause. Complainant is a law enforcement officer with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office. Complainant based this complaint on official police reports and statements of members of the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office, Milwaukee Police Department, and members of the Wisconsin State Crime Lab. Complainant notes and events described below occurred in Milwaukee County, Wisconsin. Based on the information, complainant states as follows: discovery of a so you guys know. Yeah, isn't this awful? Okay. Discovery of a severed human leg in Warnemont Park. So, trigger warning, guys. This is really a sad story. Okay. Or it's a sad state of events that happened to this young woman, and he's going to be held to account in a court of law starting tomorrow. It's awful. On Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024, at 5:29, members of law enforcement, including Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office and Cudahy Police Department, responded to Warnemont Park, located at 5400 South Lake Drive, to report a human leg located on the beach. First responders were led by a citizen who called police to the leg. Responding deputies located the right leg of what appeared to be a black female. The leg was severed just below the hip socket and appeared to have been. It's awful. It's really almost hard to read. Sawn off. The toes and the feet had pink nail polish. The leg did not appear to be decomposing. Deputy Leon Martin was one of the first responding sheriff's deputies. Deputy Martin spoke with the EM who discovered the leg. EM stated that he was meeting his friend at the park. EM stated that he and his friend were walking towards the beach water and saw the leg just north of the Warnemont pump house at the shoreline. Deputy Martin reported that the area where the leg was located contained a bluff and approximately 100 feet tall. The leg was originally found about two-thirds the way down the bluff towards the water's edge. Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office Detective Nathan Spitmeister searched the area of the park for cameras and may have captured something related to discarding of the leg. Detective Splitmeister, is it Spittle? Oh, Spittlmeister located a video from Cudahy High School that shows the parkways nearest to the pump house at the shoreline. The road that leads, so there might be video, guys. This is, yeah, there's a lot of evidence, and it's going to be interesting to kind of hear if he's even going to put on a defense, because it seems like there is a lot of, this document is filled with timelines, GPS. It's got a lot in it. Detective Spittlmeister located a video from Cudahy High School that shows the parkway nearest the pump house at the shoreline. The road that leads to the pump house is located to vehicle traffic by the gate secured with a padlock and a chain. The video footage shows at approximately 2:53 a vehicle entering the video frame headed eastbound on the parkway towards the road to the pump house. The video shows that vehicle did not make a southbound or northbound turn once reaching the intersection nearest to the service road. The vehicle disappears from the video footage, consistent with the vehicle driving down the road that leads to the pump house. Complainant shows this service road to the pump house would be the furthest that the car could go to get near Lake Michigan in that area. Detective Spittlmeister spoke to Cudahy Police Detective Brian Olson, who informed Detective Spittlmeister that on the morning of April 2nd, 2024, employees of the Cudahy Water Department reported the service gate had been struck by a vehicle. The damage to the gate was done after the evening of April 1st, but before the morning of April 2nd. This is consistent when the vehicle is seen on the video driving into the service road. Detective Joseph Blanchard from Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office went to the pump house gate to recover the broken pieces of the vehicle that were determined to belong to a Honda Civic. These damaged pieces would be consistent with the vehicle ramming to the gate to get through. Detective Spittlmeister also recovered a video at the pump house that faces north in the direction of where the severed leg was located. At approximately 3:02, a human figure can be seen descending the bluff to the beach level. The figure appears to make multiple attempts to walk between the beach and the service drive for the pump house. At approximately 4:31 a.m., the vehicle that entered the closed gate leaves and ultimately leaves the park headed westbound. The leg was recovered and transported to Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's office and was examined by Dr. Lauren Decker. During the examination, based on the size of the leg, Dr. Decker estimated the height of the person to be approximately 5 feet tall. There were multiple cutting impressions around the amputation point, as well as sharp force trauma that exposed the femur bone. However, the top of the femur bone appeared to have been snapped off. The leg appeared to have been intentionally severed with a sharp instrument, including the bone being sawn halfway through. So they go to Sade Robinson being reported missing. At approximately 9 p.m., April 2nd on 2024, In a walk-in report made by AJ, so they didn't use full names, AJ at the Milwaukee Police Department, District 5 station, AJ reported that her friend Sade C. Robinson had not returned AJ's calls and had not shown up to work. AJ provided a phone number for Robinson of blank. I redacted that out and reported that she lived on Commerce Street in Milwaukee. April 3rd, 2024, Milwaukee police officer Nora Borello responded to Robinson's apartment to conduct a welfare check and was not able to make contact with Robinson. AJ further reported to the investigators that at least one known activity of Robinson's was a Snapchat that AJ viewed showing Robinson was at Duke's on Water Street, located on Juneau Avenue in Milwaukee, on the evening of April 1st. No further contact had been made with Robinson after that. Upon hearing of the discovery of the leg near Warnemont Park, Officer Barillo contacted Milwaukee Sheriff's Office to inform them of a report of Robinson being missing as well as a vehicle on fire. Complainant knows, though, through contact that Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office has had with Robinson's family and friends, that Robinson is approximately 5 feet tall. Complainant knows that Robinson's listed height with the Wisconsin Department of Transportation is 5 feet. Officer Barillo, as well as Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office Detective Joseph Blanchard, made contact with employees of Robinson's apartment building. The apartment's maintenance employees, EF, indicated that he had last seen Robinson on April 1st. Another employee, the building secretary, CAS, reported that she would frequently see and speak with Robinson, and Robinson told CAS that she was excited for a date she had the evening of April 1st. Detective Joseph Blanchard also reviewed video surveillance footage from the apartment building on Commerce Street and said the footage depicted Robinson leaving the building at around 9 a.m. on April 1st. Robinson was wearing a black puffy coat, a white shirt, light colored blue jeans, and multiple tears in front, and white shoes. Okay, so discovery of Robinson's Honda Civic. Furthermore, on April 2nd, at approximately 7:30 a.m., members of the Milwaukee Fire Department responded to 29th Street area for a vehicle fire. First responders located a 2020 Honda Civic with Wisconsin registration. The vehicle had sustained extreme fire damage, completely damaged to the interior of the Civic. A check of the vehicle registration revealed that the vehicle belonged to Robinson. Items of Robinson's were discovered in the vehicle, as will be described later in this complaint. Complainant states on information and belief that the vehicle is worth more than $100. In response, so Robinson's phone records, in response to the discovery of the human leg in Warnemont Park, as well as a similar timing of Robinson being reported missing, as well as the arson of Robinson's vehicle, Milwaukee Sheriff's Office Detective Matthew Venderity obtained records from Verizon Wireless, the servicer of the phone number belonging to Robinson. It should be noted that AJ, as well as family members of Robinson, confirmed that phone number belonged to her. Detective Vanderty reports that records were received from Verizon and included call detail records, location records, as well as recent text messages. Upon review of the text messages content, Detective Vanderty located the text conversation between Robinson and a telephone number. This was the last text message conversations in the records that contained outgoing messages from Robinson. The conversation occurred between 4:15 p.m. and 5:18 April 1st, 2024, and reads as follows. Where are we meeting? I can do 5. Downtown somewhere? Okay. Bathhouse on 3rd? Perfect. Okay, I'm going to shower quick. I'll probably get there around 5:15. Are you hungry? I need to stop at Twisted Fisherman to pick up my W-2 for last year, and we could eat there first. Okay, yes. Are we eating at the Brat House or the other place? Let's eat at Twisted. I'm feeling seafood. Yes, I love seafood. Sounds good. I'm about to leave. I'll be there soon. And I don't know what those what that this means right here. Um just got to Twisted. Are you inside? And she said yes. So I'm assuming okay, fine. Downtown. He said I have to pick up my W-2. So the 262 is him because he's the one who said he had to pick up the W-2. So she messages, "Are you inside?" And he says yes. Okay. Detective Vandertye searched law enforcement database and showed an association with blank and Maxwell Anderson, the above named defendant. Furthermore, upon checking Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office booking records, the defendant provided a phone number to Milwaukee Sheriff's Office during a booking process, April of 2023. Investigators then checked Wisconsin Department of Transportation records and revealed that the defendant's listed address was 39th Street in Milwaukee. Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office Detective John Goulet, maybe, responded to Twisted Fisherman located on Canal Street to attempt to determine if Robinson went to the location. Detective Goulet recovered surveillance video from Twisted Fisherman. The complainant has reviewed the video as well and also reviewed booking photos of the defendant as well as photographs of Sade Robinson. The video shows in sum as follows: at approximately 5:09 on April 1st, the defendant enters Twisted Fisherman from the west. His face is clearly visible on the exterior cameras of the restaurant. At 5:20, Robinson enters the restaurant from the east. She approaches the bar and sits next to the defendant. The defendant and Robinson remain at the bar eating and having drinks together until they leave at 6:24. They both leave towards the east, which is the direction Robinson arrived from. Robinson is still wearing a black puffy coat, a white shirt, light colored blue jeans with multiple tears in front, white shoes, and carrying a dark grayish brown purse. Defendant is wearing his hair in a ponytail, a red flannel shirt with a gray hood, a black t-shirt with Carhartt written across the chest, as well as dark jeans. There's no cameras at Twisted Fisherman that depict the parking lot. Detective Gillot, when recovering the video, spoke with the owner of the restaurant, RD, who stated that he knew the defendant as an ex-employee. Detective Gillot also spoke with JR, one of the managers of the Twisted Fisherman. JR viewed the surveillance video and identified the male subject with Robinson as the defendant, who JR knew as a former employee, and further stated that the defendant came in to get his W-2 consistent with the text conversation the defendant had with Robinson. Detective Gillot also spoke with BC, who was the bartender who served the defendant and Robinson. BC stated that the defendant initially came in and indicated that he was picking up his W-2, then informed BC he was staying at the Twisted Fisherman to meet a female for a first date. BC knew the defendant as a former employee. BC stated that Robinson arrived and sat with the defendant, and they appeared to have a casual conversation before leaving together. Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office Detective Brian Conti conducted an interview on April 3rd with ASF, who identified himself as a friend of Robinson. ASF indicated that the Detective Conti that she became aware Robinson was missing by seeing it on the news. ASF stated that after she learned Robinson was missing, she accessed Robinson's Life 360 app on her cell phone. Complainant knows Life 360 is an application that provides location-based services and allows users and subscribers to share their location with others. ASF stated that upon checking Life 360, she observed Robinson's phone appeared to be in Warnemont Park around 4:33 a.m. on April 2nd, 2024. Complainant knows investigators received Life 360 records from ASF as well as Robinson's mother, SLS, and the Life 360 accounts belong to Robinson also is linked to her phone number mentioned above. Complainant has reviewed the information from Life 360 and summarizes the location of Robinson's phone as follows. So April 1st, which none of these, well, I guess they do have some depictions. So April 1st, she's on Canal Street, which leave it at that. Between 5 and 6:30. 6:30 to 6:35, she's traveling down Claiborne. Between 7 and I guess 11 or something like that. No, that's not right. Between Is that 7? That's 7 PM, 1900. Is that 7? That's 7 PM. She was near Water Street. And from 2100, which is maybe around 9 o'clock, something like that, the device traveled to another area on Water Street, and then Anderson's residence. So it has her checking in. The device traveled to 40th Street, Oklahoma Street, Gordon. I mean, so he's traveling around with her phone. So all of this is going to tie into some descriptions later down below. So it's appearing that her phone is traveling, right? And it is because it's with him, right? So Life 360 notes the battery of the device has died. So that was at 4:35 a.m. And I think that was where they last have it pinging at Warnemont Park, right? Where it says here at 3:24 to 4:35. Okay. Complainant, let me see what you guys are saying. Thank you, Bible lady. Okay, everybody hit the like button for me. I would so appreciate it. I probably should have started a different live because I feel like I didn't get. Let me just send this out. We're almost like an hour in. Let's see. All right, give me just a second, guys. Hey, babe, can you give me a bottle of water? Thank you. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Okay, complainant state on April 4th, 2024, investigators with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office executed a search warrant on the defendant's residence at 39th Street in Milwaukee. During the execution of that search warrant, identifiers for the defendant were located, including packages addressed to the defendant. Additionally, blood was located on the bedding in one of the bedrooms and on the walls leading towards the basement. Several gasoline containers were located in the garage and storage area. Thank you, dear. I appreciate it. Furthermore, complainant knows that let me get a sip of water. Furthermore, complainant knows that the Verizon records for Robinson's phone, which included call detail records and location information of the phone, were analyzed by investigators. The records consistent with Life 360 information described above shows Robinson's device in areas of Twisted Fisherman when Robinson is with the defendant at that location. Additionally, the records show the device moved from that area of Dukes on the Water approximately 6:30 p.m. and around 9:20 the device is in the area of the defendant's residence on 39th Street. Complainant shows that Milwaukee Police Detective Jake Pushing, maybe it's Pushing, reviewed poll camera video footage in the area of Dukes on the Water. The footage shows Robinson's Honda Civic arrive at 6:33 p.m. and at 6:34 Robinson exits the driver's door and the defendant exits the passenger door. The two of them walk across the street and eventually walk in the direction of Dukes on the Water. Detective Pushing also reviewed video footage of Dukes on the Water, which depicts the defendant and Robinson hanging out at Dukes on the Water. The poll camera video then shows Robinson and the defendant return to Robinson's vehicle and drive away at 9:04. After that, the phone records show the following. Robinson's phone remains in the area of Anderson's residence until 12:45 a.m. on April 2nd. Then between 12:45 and 1 a.m., the device appears to travel northbound and eastbound towards the direction of downtown Milwaukee. At 1 a.m. to approximately 1:15, the phone is in the area of downtown Milwaukee, including the area of Robinson's apartment. Before heading northbound, consistent with traveling to River West neighborhood between 1:15 and 1:30, it should be noted that between these records and the Life 360 location information, the phone does not appear to be stationary in that time frame. Complainant further notes that Detective Blanchard reviewed video footage of Robinson's apartment complex and confirmed Robinson did not return to her apartment at any point after being at the defendant's residence April 1st, 2024. By approximately 1:33 a.m., the phone travels northward towards the area of Pleasant Valley Park near North Humboldt Road and East McKeef Avenue, where it remains until 2 a.m. At 2 a.m. to approximately 2:10, the phone appears to travel westbound, consistent with being on or near Capitol Drive, and moves west. At 2:12 to approximately 2:20, the phone moves back eastward in the area of Capitol Drive. At 2:20 to 2:30, the phone appears to travel southward, consistent with traveling on Interstate 43. At 2:30 to 2:35, the phone moves westbound, appearing traveling consistent with Interstate 41, Interstate 894 towards Greenfield. 2:35 to 2:45, the phone moves back eastward and southbound, consistent with traveling on 41, 94 and traveling east in the area of College Avenue in the direction of Warnemont Park. At 2:45 to 3 a.m., the phone appears to be east of the airport in the area of Cudahy and South Milwaukee. The phone then remains in the area of Warnemont Park between 3 and 4:30 a.m. From 4:30 to 4:40, the phone begins to move northbound towards St. Francis and has a final call tower location record around 4:40 in the area of East Howard Avenue and WI 794, consistent with the location where Life 360 indicates the battery of the phone died. Y'all here? Okay. Let's see. It's just a little bit more to go. On Saturday, April 6, 2024, members of the Milwaukee Police Department began to canvass the area near where Robinson's Honda Civic was set on fire. While searching the area of 34th Street and Galena Playground, Milwaukee Police Detective Cassandra Linder located a human foot in a wooded area adjacent to the train tracks and border of the playground to the east. Investigators located, in addition to the foot, another piece of what appeared to be human flesh in the same area. Can you believe this? By a playground? This is absolutely horrible that this guy did this. Complainant has observed the recovered foot as well as the leg recovered from Mornemont Park and observed they appeared to be from the same individual, particularly due to the skin tone, size, and having matching pink nail polish. The location of where these remains were discovered was approximately 1 block south of where Robinson's car was set on fire. Members of the where is it? My page down working. Okay. Okay. Members of the Milwaukee Police Department attempted to locate video footage regarding either the disposal of human remains and footage related to the arson of Robinson's car. Detective Ryan Bergman obtained video from the Milwaukee County Transit System bus traveling westbound on Lisbon Avenue. The video footage depicts the following. The bus stops at the corner of 29th Street and Lisbon Avenue at 7:29 a.m. facing westbound in the direction of where Robinson's car was set on fire. Two subjects can be seen walking westbound on the north side of Lisbon, passing the Lisbon Liquor Store and Food Mart. One of these subjects is wearing a blue coat and the other is holding a black and white umbrella. The bus begins to drive towards 30th Street, at which time the person with the blue coat appears to be checking something out to the north, at which time a different subject can be seen walking through the grass towards Lisbon Avenue. The subject is walking away from the fire that is beginning to burn in the parking slab behind the building at the corner of 30th and Lisbon. As the transit bus passes the person walking away from the fire, you can see the individual appears to be a white male and wearing dark pants, a gray hooded top, and carrying a tan colored backpack with tan straps that appears to be full. As the bus continues to drive westbound on Lisbon, the burning of Robinson's vehicle is clearly visible. As the bus continues to pass, the subject of the tan with the tan backpack can be seen starting to cross Lisbon Avenue southbound. Milwaukee Police Detective Andrew Marks recovered video footage from Lisbon Liquor and Food Mart. The footage depicts a subject in a blue jacket and the subject with an umbrella walking westward on Lisbon Avenue. Upon reaching the vacant lot next to the liquor store, both subjects appear to slow down, at which time the width of the tan backpack begins to walk across Lisbon southbound at 30th Street. The person with the blue jacket then appears to be in shock and begins pointing at the person with the tan backpack as he walks away. The subject with the blue jacket then tries to flag down cars passing by and can be heard on the video yelling, "He did that!" while pointing across the street to the person with the tan backpack. The subject in the blue jacket also begins yelling for someone to call the fire department. Investigators were eventually able to identify the subject with the blue jacket as LAD. Detective Vincent Lopez and Detective Thaddeus Schimmels interviewed LAD, who stated the following. LAD was walking down Lisbon Avenue with her friend and saw a white male exit the driver's door of Robinson's Honda Civic. She then observed the white male light a lighter and toss it into the driver's door window of the Honda, then begin walking in LAD's direction and last saw this white male walking westbound on Walnut Street from 30th Street. Detectives that he's bold. He was bold. He didn't give a fuck. He was bold and just out there, just doing whatever he wanted to do. Okay? Didn't care at all. Well, there's gonna be some pictures in a second. Hold on. Um, okay. Detectives then saturated the area to recover any surveillance footage that would capture where the subject with the tan backpack walked towards after setting Robinson's car on fire. Through the video canvas, detectives learned the subject with the tan backpack walked westward towards 35th Street and then eventually got onto Milwaukee County Transit bus at 8:12 to head southbound to 35th Street, which is in the direction of the defendant's home. The video from the MCTS bus captured the face of the subject as he boarded and remained on the bus. Through the footage, has reviewed complainant has reviewed the defendant's booking photo related to his arrest on April 4th, 2022. Complainant is able to identify the subject as the defendant Maxwell S Anderson, as well as it should be noted that the footage from the bus shows the defendant wearing the exact clothing depicted on the subjects fleeing the scene of the vehicle arson, including the large tan backpack with straps, a depiction of the defendant's booking photo with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office, and the defendant on the MCTS bus is depicted below. You guys ready to see the picture? I'm sure you guys have seen this before. Girl, they caught him on the bus. They caught him. He took the bus and they caught him on the bus. Right back to his house. Yes. And they put it right in the report. Okay. Which, this is good. I mean, it's terrible that this happened, but, some good police work. Thank God the young lady had Life 360. She had her phone on. So luckily it gave lots and lots of clues for the detective to go on. Also, she lived alone. She had her own apartment, and luckily she had some good friends that noticed that she didn't come to work, because oftentimes you miss work, they're not going to call you and say, "Oh, hey, you missed work." They're going to give you a day or two to call in or come into work. So luckily she had a good friend that noticed that she hadn't came to work and thought that that was odd, and called the police and all of those things. So I think the fact that she was noted missing early helped. Detective Ryan Bergman reviewed the MCTS video showing the defendant on the MCTS bus. The defendant boarded the bus and pays his bus fare in cash. Then he rides the MCTS bus south on 35th Street and gets off the bus approximately 8:35 on 35th Street and Lakefield Drive on Milwaukee's south side. It should be noted that there is not a bus stop at this location. The defendant asked the bus driver to let him off there. So he made himself known to the bus driver. Because if they're just stopping at a stop, they're probably going to notice you less than saying, "Hey, do you mind letting me off in between a stop?" Which typically I don't think they do, right? The defendant then departs the bus and begins to walk northbound. It should further be noted, it is approximately an 8-minute walk from that location to the defendant's house. It should be most logical place to depart the bus to walk to the defendant's home. Complainant reviewed surveillance video affixed to the residence across the street. Okay. Complainant reviewed surveillance video affixed to a residence across the street. This should be interesting. They're going to probably have so much video. They sounds like they're going to have a lot of evidence. Video footage affixed to a residence across the street from the defendant's residence, which recovered by Milwaukee Police Department Rachel Smith. The video footage depicts South 39th Street and the front of the defendant's residence, as well as part of the south side of his residence. There is a front gate on the south side of the residence, and over that gate, the rear gate near the alley is also visible. The defendant can be seen arriving through his back gate that is accessible through an alley behind his house at 8:34 a.m. The arrival to his house is consistent with him having walked to the location from the departing bus. Complainant notes that the defendant's dark hooded top and tan backpack that appears full are visible in this video. So they said it appears full. So one can assume they're, he's carrying, they said his backpack appears full, put it that way, are visible in the video. Complainant knows that Robinson's vehicle was ultimately towed from this location where the defendant set it on fire and was searched by Detective Alexis Krusik of the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office and by members of the Wisconsin State Crime Lab. During the search of the vehicle, located in the trunk was clothing that Robinson was wearing on the evening of April 1st, 2024, namely the black puffer jacket, light blue ripped jeans, white shoes, along with her dark grayish purse. These items were found in her trunk of the vehicle and partially fire damaged, although undamaged enough to identify as the items Robinson was wearing. Also recovered was the remnant of an iPhone consistent with the type of phone Robinson was known to have. Detective Rachel Smith reviewed additional surveillance video footage from the residence across the street of the defendant's residence. Her review of the footage revealed the following. At around 9:24 April 1st, there was motion near the back gate of the defendant's property, which appears to swing open, the shadows consistent with two human figures entering the backyard of the defendant's residence. At 9:26, the living room light in the front of the defendant's residence upper right unit turns on. This would be consistent with the time that Robinson's phone appears to have arrived at the defendant's residence as described above. It would be consistent with Robinson and Anderson arriving at the residence together. Approximately 11:25, there is a human movement in the backyard again. This movement continues on and off. Approximately 12:45 on April 2nd, 2024. This is consistent with the time that Robinson's phone appears to depart from Anderson's residence and begins to travel around the city of Milwaukee before eventually ending up apparently stationary near Warnermont Park, where the severed leg was recovered. As described above, Robinson's phone does not appear to depart from Anderson's residence between the arrival around 9:24 on April 1st and 12:50 a.m. on April 2nd. Detective Smith also recovered surveillance video from 3174 40th Street that depicts the alley. This video does not depict the defendant's residence, but it depicts the alley that connects to the defendant's residence. Detective Smith reviewed the video, which shows Robinson's vehicle leaving the alley southbound at 12:47 on April 2nd, 2024. Detective Smith also recovered footage from the camera that depicts the intersection of 35th Street and West Greenfield Avenue, which is to the north of the defendant's residence. The video footage depicts Robinson's vehicle headed northbound on 35th Street, approximately 12:53 on April 2nd. This movement is consistent with the location of Robinson's phone as described. The complainant knows that on April 4th at around 1:16, MCSO Detective Joseph Blanchard and John Galut conducted a traffic stop of a black Hyundai Santa Fe license plate, which listed in the Department of Transportation records to the defendant. The defendant was stopped near 36th Street and West Lakefield Drive, just a few blocks from his residence. The defendant was arrested at that time. A search of the defendant's vehicle led to the recovery of a zip-up hooded coat that appeared to be the same coat the defendant was wearing in the still frame depicted above. Complainant further states, based on the preliminary analysis done by the Wisconsin State Crime Lab, that pseudo standard of Sade C. Robinson was compared to a blood standard of the human leg recovered in Warnermont Park, and the DNA analysis supports the preliminary conclusion that the leg belongs to Sade C. Robinson. Complainant further states that since the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office and Milwaukee Police Department began the investigation into the severed leg recovered from Warnemont Park, as well as the missing persons investigation related to Sade C. Robinson. No one from her family nor friends have heard from Robinson. And the last contact anyone had with her was April 1st. No one has had contact with Robinson since she was with the defendant the night of April 1st into April 2nd, 2024, based on the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of Robinson as described in this complaint and the recovery of a human leg that was primarily preliminary identified as Robinson's. Complainant and concludes Robinson is deceased. The facts mentioned in this complaint caused complainant to conclude that the defendant intentionally killed and dismembered Robinson with the intent to conceal the homicide, and it occurred between the arrival at the defendant's residence and his departure from Warnemont Park area. And the trial starts tomorrow. Yes, they've seated the jury. The jury was sworn in today, and the trial is starting tomorrow. And here's Sade's picture. Maybe he thought because she lived alone, no one. Girl, yeah, that was wrong. Because apparently she's got, she had lots of friends, or she definitely at least had one good friend who noticed that she was not at work, not answering the phone, and then her parents. If you've seen her parents, it makes you want to cry. Just see the mother's shattered, as anybody would be, right? But it's very, very sad. Um, Not yet. Let's see if they say anything. Hold on. Let me see. I got the update about the jury on the docket. Uh, let's see. Let me see. Jury selection. The jury selection. The trial is expected to last 2 weeks. The pool of 40. What time did this come out? Because this might not even be. Yeah, this is from this morning. They don't even have. Did they do an update later? Let me see if I can find if there's like news coverage. Let's see. Jury selected, Anderson trial. 15. Okay, 55 minutes ago. Let's see what they have to say. Jury seated. Hey, babe, you ready to go to bed? Just 1 second, guys. Okay, sorry guys. Let me see. Let's see what they're saying right here.
The end of the trial. We know
to get to on day one of this trial. Now, we know that they seated a total of 15 jurors, 12 women, 3 men. 3 of them will be selected as alternates at the end of the trial before deliberations begin. And we were hearing what some jurors were bringing up as concerns. One of them saying, I'm a mother. I don't want to sit through this. I don't want to hear this. Are you surprised that we got a jury seated today?
I think it's efficient work for sure. I think that the judge particularly, and then corralling the parties, moved quickly to try to get the jury seated before the end of the day so that they could begin tomorrow morning fresh with opening statements.
Now, explain the reasoning for not knowing which 3 will be the alternates until deliberation.
Sure. All of the seated jurors have to pay equal and undivided attention to the trial. And so selecting them at the end ensures that everybody believes they could be a juror. Numerically, they're likely to be a juror that votes on the verdict in the case, and the alternate is selected, or the alternates are selected at the end of the trial.
We know in a case like this, the burden is on the prosecution to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. At this point, publicly, prosecutors have not said how they believe Sade Robinson died. Do you expect them to lay that out in their openings? If they don't, is that an open door potentially for defense attorneys to take on?
I do expect the prosecution to lay that out in opening statement. I think you'll learn a lot, at least very indicative of how their theory of that occurred. And so it would be a sign of attack for the defense to hone in on. It's a circumstantial case, as we know. And so the parties and how they tee up and introduce their evidence to the jurors will be something that'll be critical in this case.
I want to point out something, too, because at one point we know the defense asked prospective jurors if any of them worked as a nurse or at a hospital. And also they said that there would be some surveillance footage from businesses and residential homes, kind of giving us an indication of what evidence will be presented during this trial. Are you listening to things like that as well?
I am when I do a trial, and also when I listen to one. First of all, digital evidence in every case, you can't get away from it today. I mean, it's just present in even misdemeanor trials. There's just more and more camera related evidence. But the medical issues are interesting that they were teed up and referenced by the parties today at jury selection, because that means that there may be a desire to have a leader in the jury deliberation room later that can maybe help explain some things or expand upon some things for the other jurors.
Is a case like this tougher for prosecutors, given it's a circumstantial case where you don't have a full set of remains of the person who was killed, potentially, unless they are going to present this a murder weapon?
Prosecutors always like to have cause of death without any other alternate theories. They like to have, a weapon. They like to have a confession. They like to have an eyewitness. Those are all examples of direct evidence of someone's guilt. Circumstantial cases are always more challenging, but as prosecutors are fond of saying, you can walk out the door of a building and everything is wet, and that's a circumstantial case that it rained, and a pretty strong one. So.
And we do know that the jury will not be sequestered. Are you surprised that neither side asked for that to happen?
I'm not surprised that either side asked for it to happen, and I'm not surprised that it didn't happen. I mean, that is a huge lift. So I've been through, as an attorney, some very high-profile cases where the jurors were not sequestered. I think it's more unusual nowadays to sequester them.
Because of the amount of resources it takes.
Huge amount of resources, huge burden on the jurors.
Yeah. We know it's very difficult, and we are just day one on this trial that has now gained national attention. Craig, will be seeing you throughout the rest of this trial.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for your time.
And we're going to be streaming the opening statements when they begin tomorrow. You can watch it on WISN.com, the 12 News mobile app, or the free Very Local app.
Yeah, I don't see how it's circumstantial in the sense that she got to his house and there appears to be several neighbors that have like Ring or whatever they have that caught him potentially leaving. If they have video footage that sees 2 human figures going into the house and later one exiting, also her not actually leaving in her vehicle herself, him driving her vehicle potentially. There could be, buses catch lots of stuff. there could be video footage of him actually driving her car when he set her car on fire. He drove her car. Then the car was found with her clothing from the night before. If she left the house, how did she leave? You know what I mean? If they want to argue, well, she left in an Uber, she was mad. Naked? Did you give her clothes to leave? Because she didn't leave with her purse. She didn't leave with her phone. She didn't leave with any clothes on. Any of the clothes that she had on, she did not have. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what kind of. I'm interested to hear what we'll hear the opening statements tomorrow and we'll take it from there. This should be interesting. I hate this for this family because this is a nightmare. It's absolutely a nightmare. So hopefully if you're just now coming in, we just read the whole entire complaint and it gives you a really good synopsis of the case and what occurred. And I'm sure there's, this is probably nothing compared to what we will hear because that her recovery has been, it happened throughout a period of time. And I think that there's still, what he did to her is absolutely a nightmare to her family. Yeah, it's absolutely a nightmare because she's not whole, put it that way. I don't want to get too there's no nice way to put it, but you guys know what happened. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So yeah, we'll run it tomorrow. And there, like I said, there was not anything televised today. So I think maybe they thought it was gonna be, and it just was not. So anyway, so 8:45 is what, 9:45 our time. I would just say probably 10 o'clock. Maybe we'll be a little bit behind. That way, yeah, maybe like a little bit behind, like 10:30ish or something like that. That way, it has time to start. Yeah, it's very sad. This case that should receive. So Wisconsin, are they a death penalty state? I don't know. Oh, you know what? I think they are pursuing the death penalty with him. Hold on a second. Let me look at the docket real quick. I had the docket up just a second. I think they were pursuing. Let me scroll all the way down. Why do I feel like I remember that? I feel like that was something that was put. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me see. Let me Google it. I did say something about life in prison, but I don't know if it said Wisconsin dismembering facing life in prison if convicted. It doesn't say death penalty. I don't know if this is a death penalty case or not. Capital punishment, Wisconsin. They abolished in 1853. Capital punishment in Wisconsin was abolished in 1853. That was a long time ago. So they do not have the death penalty in Wisconsin. Okay. Girl, 1853. Okay, that was long time ago. Anyway, guys, I'm not gonna hold y'all. I wanted to give you guys this update, so we'll get started. So tomorrow, I don't know, maybe like 10:30 at the latest 11. I don't want to be too far behind, but when we start a little bit later, that way when they go to lunch, we can like by the time we're caught up, they're going to be back from lunch. You know what I mean? So that way, if we're starting on time, then it's like that awkward break time. So we can maybe start like a little bit later, and then I'll set up the live for in the morning though. But I'll set up for like maybe we'll see what the vibe is. Maybe we'll figure it out for the subsequent days. Tomorrow, I guess let's just start on time so we can get the opening statement and everything and see how it goes. We'll play it by ear tomorrow. I'm going to try to start as close to start time as soon as they hit the gavel, and then we can play it by ear for the rest because it's already Wednesday. So and then we'll play it by ear for the rest of the week. Yes, everyone, please do. Thank you so much, Coco. That was very sweet. You guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, guys. Take care.